minimization standards.
Does that make sense?
That's summarized.
You sort of see the hitch we're in. We're trying to figure out what minimization means. We're getting pushed by other sides to talk about minimization. We can't. How can we talk about it not knowing specifically?
And really, what
well, I think there's two.
Is this the appropriate timing for this? Could these access ways have been applied for at a different time when some of the other issues that are at stake have been resolved?
Well, no.
No.
I don't know when those are going to be resolved. There's nothing wrong with the landowner having clarity on the access points for their property when they want to commercially develop it.
I would agree with that.
We agree that you have right to access the property for development.
Can we start maybe, I'm going to suggest starting the other direction, which is, I see a piece of property, forget what has ever been mentioned as used, I don't care if you're going to build the Eiffel Tower on here, a piece of property that appears to be trisected, right? So if I can point to any place on this as a reasonable developer and say, I'd like to get here, or here, or here, or here, that if it's trisected, then you're probably going to need at least 3 accesses. Doesn't that seem simple enough?
In theory, yeah.
So why don't we start there and then say, well, no, it's not quite that simple. We need to add this one too, or add that one. But
well, no, let's start there and reduce them.
okay.
These 2 here.
Can I point to a place that, and how would I get there? Like, I don't understand the green versus orange. It seems like if I get the green, I can get to orange, etc. But, I mean, start from the simplest and build up rather than just all this kind of bantering on about what's going to end up there, because we don't know what's going to end up there.
You don't have a wetland crossing the property, and it has to be crossed to get to the upland. What you have is 2 uplands that have constrictions. I don't remember the exact, but I believe this one is something like 64 feet, and this one's a little over 40 feet. And with a little bit of realignment on these roads, they could go through there without impacting.
I've taken the liberty of doing what Charlie's asked for.
Yeah.
What do you want? I'll give it a shot. One question I have of the applicants is why 3 entrances? Have they exceeded an AASHTO standard for the predicted volume of traffic coming in and out? Typically, you see 2 entrances coming into major developments. 3 is
that's what we've had in
kind of unusual.
Like Ryan Mill or Maysway. Other similar developments in Tamworth have not tended to 3.
I assume they needed 2 entrances. And in an effort to minimize and avoid the wetlands crossings, yet to reach all the colored areas, I came up with the following. Recommend for approval impact 11 and 12. Realign impact 13 to something shown like that, and there may actually be 0 impact with that realignment. Relocate impact area 10 to a place right about here, which would minimize the crossing to get to the green area and would avoid that 3rd entrance, which is the northerly entrance, easterly entrance. And once that is done, I see no need for impact area 1 or impact area 6. So if we approved 11 and 12, that's 1,112 square feet of impact with 70 feet of culvert going in. If realignment of 13 occurs, that could save up to 265 square feet of impact. If you relocate 10, that minimizes 2,775 square feet, because we don't know exactly what that area would be right there. See, I got 10 here, Jen. Bring 10 to there. Approve that because it's 12. 1. Realign 13. So it just kind of goes straight through there. And again, 1 and 6 would not be necessary if they did this, which would save 2,666 square feet of wetland and save 257 feet of arch culverts. So it seemed like
Didn't you have real line 13?
realign 13.
So you're putting some numbers on minimization
Yes.
by doing this, I like that.
Yes.
It's not an all or nothing, but it's saying like,
And with a little
minimization
bit
is
of,
something you can measure.
so there's a sketch here of that.